So before I get into the meat of this video, let me just break down to you guys who I am, because I think a lot of you guys only know me as RGT85, and that's fine. But before YouTube, I was in writing. I still am in writing. I'm a part of Nintendo Enthusiast, PlayStation Enthusiast, and Enthusiast.gg. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, don't they have YouTube channels? Yes, they do. I've done reviews for PlayStation Enthusiast, and I was one half of Nintendo Enthusiast and helped build that up to what it was. So you might be thinking to yourself, Nintendo Enthusiast has a much larger sub base than you at like 22,000 subscribers. Why don't you do everything over there? And there's a simple reason for that. I don't want these types of videos to necessarily represent them. You see, when you work with a company, when you're working for a company, there are certain standards to uphold, in my opinion. And some people may disagree with me on this, but there's a certain type of content that you want to put out for those. Now, on this channel, I can do whatever I want. I can say whatever I want, and I don't care because it's representative of me, not necessarily reflecting on the website. So I say all that to say this. Polygon, it's time for you to go. It's time for you to go because I'm about to rip you apart in this video. And it's well deserved too, because honestly, I am so sick and tired of this agenda pushing and mindless drone nonsense that you guys continuously put out. So let me start off by saying I'm going to cover two topics in this video. The first topic is a very simple one, Battlefield 1. I have not played Battlefield 1 yet. I played the beta for a little while. It was okay. But Battlefield 1, the EA sent out some tweets, kind of like YOLO swag sort of stuff, you know, making fun, poking fun of, you know, Battlefield, and it would have a picture of Battlefield 1 and it would have something like when your squad rolls up looking good. And for some reason, this was deemed offensive by Polygon. And it wasn't deemed offensive as an opinion. It was deemed offensive as an article. Now, let me tell you guys the different forms of writing. There's news, there's articles, and there's opinion pieces. News is simply that, news. It's just the bare bones news, there's no personal opinion into it. An article is news that you elaborate on, but you still don't put your personal 2 cents into it. You're supposed to put all the information out there and let the reader decide what or what not to do with this information. The third thing is an opinion piece, which is where you can say pretty much anything and it only reflects on you. We do opinion pieces all the time on Enthusiast.gg and Nintendo Enthusiast and stuff because sometimes people's opinions differ. My opinions differ than a lot of the staff members on there, and that's okay. That's what makes the website good. Here's where I have a problem with you, Polygon. You classified this Battlefield 1 tweet incident as an article, but yet you use language, negative language, in the header of this article, so that when the reader reads this article, they go in with a negative connotation of it. Now let's look at the actual facts here. These are tweets about Battlefield 1 taken in a light-hearted manner, saying stupid lingo like that. I don't think the tweets were funny. I thought the tweets were pretty stupid. But to say they're controversial, to make a big deal out of it, is what I have a problem with. Because let me tell you something. After seeing these tweets, I said, you know what? Polygon says these things are, you know, these aren't good tweets. These are, you know, hurting people and people are getting triggered about it. Let me go talk to some World War I veterans and see what they have to say about this. And you know what was crazy? I couldn't find any. It was so nuts. I was like, where are all these World War I veterans? These are the guys that are getting mad about it, right? These were the guys that were involved in World War I. These were the guys fighting. They're the ones that are pissed off about this video game meme tweet. But there weren't any. Because World War I was over 100 years ago. So unless there was an infant soldier born on the battlefield, handed a gun and shooting people, there's none left. There's no one left from World War I. So who exactly is getting offended? I actually posed this question on Twitter, and someone said people with deep appreciation of history and society and historical societies. I don't think historical societies really give two shits about video games. You see, video games are a lot like movies. They are just forms of entertainment. They're not indicative of the real world. If video games were indicative of the real world, then I would have been a little kid ripping off people's heads while I played Mortal Kombat. Or spinning around in a blue ball like Sonic the Hedgehog. But I never did any of that because I understood that video games are a form of expression. They are an art form. They are not to be taken as a real world thing. Yet, when we take in real world situations and real world stuff, then all of a sudden we get up in arms about it because we can't talk bad, we can't joke around about, you know, World War I, that's a bad situation, people died. No shit. Okay? So by saying this, you're essentially saying that shows like MASH shouldn't exist. A show like MASH shouldn't exist because it was a humor show based on a war. Was it not? So where's your article on MASH? Where's your article on every movie that has taken a lighthearted approach to war? Okay, let's face it. All because you cope with something one way and you want to express your opinion, Polygon, that's fine. But when you put it as an article, you are saying that this is fact, this is news based on fact. But it's not, because there are hundreds of thousands of millions of people in the world who cope with things differently. Okay? How do I cope with things? I cope with things in humor. Okay? Let's look at personal situations that I've had in my life. I told you guys, this video is going to be all over the damn place. Alright? When I was 16 years old, I overdosed on medication on purpose because I was suicidal. And what do? I make jokes about it now because it's funny. It's in the past. It has no relevance on my current life. Okay? My father last year overdosed on heroin, passed away. My biological father, wasn't very close to him or anything, but he passed away on an unfortunate heroin overdose. Okay, make a joke about it. It doesn't bother me. A lot of people cope with situations with humor. And if you really want to get specific, if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of the war side of things, I could do that with you guys too. Because honestly, one of the writers on enthusiast.gg kind of retorted me on my article about this, because I wrote an article about this, but I also wanted to do a video on it too. Basically, my position was Polygon is creating this oversensitive social justice warriors situation that is unfortunately ruining gaming. And he said, well, what if there was a game that glorified Nazis in World War II? I'm Jewish and I lost a quarter of my family to that. And I could say by myself right now that my family was impacted by Nazis in World War II. My grandma lived in Italy. She was kicked out of her house and several members of her family were killed from the Nazi army. Now, there are no games that actually honor and exemplify Nazi Germany, to my knowledge of, real release games. But if there was a game where you played as a Nazi soldier against the Allies, I mean, how many times have we played as the Allies against the Nazi soldiers? With the Nazi soldiers, they also had families too, and maybe their families didn't agree with their ideology and their mentality, so would it really be that big of a concern? And once again, at the end of the day, is this not a video game? Is this not a form of entertainment? Are there not movies that show the other side of the coin? Look at a movie like American History X. Can you imagine if American History X came out in 2016? People would shit their fucking pants because they're all soft people. Everyone wants to get offended at everything. Everything is offensive. Everything hurts me. This is not for me. You know what? Not everything in life is for you. So this Battlefield 1 tweet is probably not for you. Who was it for? I don't know. It was a stupid tweet. But to attack EA and force them to apologize for a tweet making lighthearted of a situation that happened over 100 years ago that no one alive was in is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that you, Polygon, put it in as an article, not an opinion piece, but an article, is absurd. And that writer should be removed from your staff because he obviously doesn't know what an article is, and you're probably paying him pretty damn well. You guys make a lot of money with your clickbait shit, so I'm sure he's making good money. And now, once again, good old Polygon has to get into a situation that's going on with the tweeters, because obviously there's nothing else happening in the real world, there's nothing else happening in the video game world, that we have to focus on Twitter tweets. So a company called Razer, which makes computer products, was promoting their computer that has an SD drive that said, and they said a stupid tweet like SRD. Okay, so if you don't know what SRD or SMyD stands for, it essentially stands for suck my dick. And everyone freaked out about it because, oh my god, how could you say such a thing? What kind of marketing is this? And Polygon had one of their editors write an opinion piece. Fine, fair game, I'm not going to disrespect your opinion, but the problem is, your opinion, while not right and not wrong, if I could see through it, then there's a problem with it. Because this writer went on to say that this tweet was sexist. This was a sexist tweet. And I got to thinking to myself, how exactly are the words, even if they said the word suck my dick, how is that sexist? And it's sexist towards women. I'm sorry. But here's the thing, Polygon. What you say by saying that it's sexist towards women is even more fucked up than the original tweet. Because you're singling out women in this situation. When I see that tweet and it says suck my dick, I would think to myself, oh, well, it could be a female, it could be a homosexual male, it could be a transsexual, it could be anybody. Why does it necessarily have to be females, Polygon? Aren't you pretty much saying that the sexism is towards females and not taking into account homosexual males and transsexuals? Do you see how easy it was to pick that apart, Polygon? So now you make yourself look stupid because You look sexist by assuming that a stupid fucking tweet that said S my D is sexist towards women. This blows my mind. Could you imagine if Daikatana came out in 2016 and John Romero's gonna make you his bitch came out as the ad? Because that was the ad for Daikatana. John Romero's about to make you his bitch. Could you imagine this? Let me break this down for you. I'm gonna do it the simplest way I can. I think Polygon is a terrible website. I think Polygon pushes an agenda, and Polygon encourages these people because they get millions of views a month to be soft and to be offended by everything and to be triggered by everything. And you might think that I'm a bit hypocritical by being offended by Polygon being offended by anything. And maybe I am. But really, I just wanted to voice my opinion on this subject because it's been bothering me, to be honest with you. Because we are creating this society in gaming that is supposed to take you away from the real world. That is supposed to take you away from real world situations where it's okay to be offended and everything in a fucking piece of fiction. It's not real. Video games aren't real. Okay? And until you get that through your head, Polygon, you're going to continue to be on my shit list. I'm going to continue to make fun of you. I'm going to continue to point out your flaws all the time because there are many to point out. There are many to point out. You make it very simple for me. And, you know, I might lose subscribers over this. Some people might get pissed off and disagree with me. That's cool. That's what makes the world great. That's what makes America great, is you can have a difference of opinion. And you're allowed to say that difference of opinion. And if people want to agree with you, awesome. If not, you know, no big deal. But Polygon, you've got to, if you're going to stay around, at least learn what a news piece is, an article, and an opinion piece. Because you don't even have the basics down. And so that just makes me wonder, you know, what the fuck do you guys really know about video games? What do you know about video games? I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, I'm not going to link the Polygon articles in the description box below. I don't want them to get any ad revenue because that's probably why they made these in the first place, is ad revenue. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I haven't done a rant in a while and I just wanted to get this off my chest. Be sure to like it, leave me your comments down below, let me know what you think about the situation, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys next time. Later.